In October 1918, during the final months of the war, nearly 200 American soldiers found themselves trapped behind German lines in a forest in France. They were surrounded, cut off from support, and running out of options. To make matters worse, their own artillery units mistakenly believed the soldiers were in a different location and began firing directly at them. The trapped troops desperately tried to send messages asking the artillery to stop. 2 messenger pigeons were released. Both were shot down. Time was running out. Confusion spread through the unit. Communication lines were destroyed, and every attempt to signal their own artillery only made the shelling worse. The forest around them was turning into a storm of fire and smoke, and each passing minute reduced their chances of survival. The soldiers turned to their last remaining pigeon, Cher. A message was attached to the bird's leg. It contained a desperate plea. "Our artillery is dropping a barrage directly on us." As soon as Cher took flight, German soldiers spotted the bird and opened fire. The tiny pigeon flew straight into a storm of bullets. A bullet struck its chest. Another injured its leg. One eye was badly damaged. Yet somehow, Cher kept flying. For 25 miles, the wounded bird pushed through pain and exhaustion. Wind, smoke, and gunfire made the journey even more impossible. The bird repeatedly dipped and struggled, but it refused to fall. Finally, after an exhausting flight, it reached its destination and delivered the message. The artillery fire was immediately corrected. The trapped soldiers were saved. When Cher landed, the bird was barely alive. Its chest was torn open, and one leg was hanging by a tendon. But the message had arrived. Military doctors worked desperately to save the pigeon, and Cher survived against all odds. Many historians believe that nearly 200 soldiers owed their lives to that single flight. But Cher wasn't the only feathered hero of the war. Throughout World War I, hundreds of thousands of pigeons served on both sides of the conflict. They carried intelligence reports, requests for reinforcements, troop positions, and emergency messages. In some units, pigeons were trained for months before being sent into active battle zones, learning to navigate distance, terrain, and weather conditions with remarkable accuracy. In some cases, pigeons achieved delivery success rates of more than 90%, making them more reliable than many technologies of the time. Commanders often trusted them when radios failed or when wires were cut by enemy fire. These birds flew through artillery barrages, poison gas, storms, and enemy gunfire. They never carried weapons, they never wore uniforms, yet they played a crucial role in one of history's deadliest conflicts. Entire operations sometimes depended on a single message reaching headquarters in time. And again, these small birds delivered under pressure when everything else failed. Today, when we think of war heroes, we usually imagine soldiers, generals, tanks, and fighter pilots. But World War I reminds us that heroes can come in unexpected forms. Sometimes, the difference between life and death wasn't a powerful weapon or a brilliant strategy. Sometimes, it was a small bird carrying a message through a sky filled with bullets. If you enjoyed this story, consider subscribing for more untold moments from history.